Hello. Today's video is about two gardening activities that I like doing. One is about growing blueberries and the other is experimenting with plants that I'm growing. So combining both of those, I decided to find out what would happen if I tried to grow blueberries in a soil that wasn't the right pH. Blueberries tend to like growing in an acidic environment where the soil is between about 4.5 and about 5.3 in pH, and I had some composts that the pH was not as acidic as that, it was over 6.2. I had some cuttings that I had taken last February that were just sitting in pots waiting for this moment. So I took 8 of them. 4 of them were Blueberry Legacy and 4 of them were Blueberry Kisses. So I took 2 of the Blueberry Kisses and 2 of the Blueberry Legacy and put them into the compost that was pH of greater than 6.2. And I took 2 of the Blueberry Kisses and 2 of the Blueberry Legacy and put them into the potting mix that had a pH of slightly less than 6. The date that I started this experiment and potted them into both of these different medias was the 1st of December 2021, with the goal of seeing if the pH affected the growth rate or the growth appearance. The plants were put underneath the camellia bush where they got sun up until about midday. The experiment ended on 16th of February 2022. All of the plants grew really well. There wasn't a marked difference between the appearance of the leaves for the plants that had been in the compost compared to those that were in the potting mix. This clip compares 2 of the Blueberry Legacy plants. One had on the left had been growing in the compost and the one on the right had been growing in the potting mix. You can see a lot of chlorosis on the leaves that had been growing in the compost, and that's not so noticeable on the ones that have been growing in the potting mix. Now we compare 2 of the Blueberry Kisses plants. Again, the left-hand side was grown in compost, the right-hand side was grown in the potting mix. And again, that chlorosis is really obvious in the plant that had been grown in compost. Interesting though, this is the new growth that had occurred since the experiment, whereas this second branch there, that had grown before the experiment, and the chlorosis didn't affect the old leaves. It's mainly the new leaves that were affected. Here's a picture that I took today of the mother plant of the Blueberry Legacy. It was grown in an appropriate pH in the range of 4.5 to 5.3. You can see its leaves were healthy. The fruit that it produced was beautiful. So it grows a lot better in an appropriate pH. I'll continue to use compost in the soil for growing blueberries, but I'll make sure that its pH is within the correct range. And here's a picture of the mother plant of the Blueberry Kisses. Likewise, its leaves were healthy, it's grown in the correct pH range. Its fruit was even nicer and even sweeter than the Blueberry Legacy. The results of this experiment have been helpful to me in that now I'll be able to observe the blueberries, and if I see any chlorosis happening on the leaves, I'll know to check the pH that it might need adjusting. Thank you for watching and sharing my journey.